Here's what's next on the Nice Guys on Business.
Hey, if you go to San Diego State, join this hangout and share your memories at the beach and on a road trip and whatever you did this summer. So all those people at SDSU have a new way to connect with somebody that may have similar interests, because we saw and we heard that there's no way to meet people online. Remember, Doug, you know this, but the last two generations, okay, millennials and Gen Z, increased screen time, reduced ability to communicate socially. So we are meeting them where they are at on social apps. And you really covered that, whether you intended to or not. We're meeting them where they're at on this app.
You don't need to see their identification. These aren't the podcasters you're looking for. These are the Nice Guys on Business. Running a business is hard. Being a business leader is even harder. The Nice Guys bring in top industry pros to help your business prosper in a tough world. Get real advice from real people to get you real results today. Now it's time for the Nice Guys on Business. Here's your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Nice Guy community, guess what? He's back. And this time he totally means business. Excited to reintroduce you to Josh Luke. He is the founder and CEO of the new social media app called AnyFans. The pandemic really created a huge level of awareness, not only for us, but especially for Josh. There's a mental health crisis out there. We all know that. And there was some dead space until now about social media and actually how it combines and maybe helps with the healing a little bit. So he created a social media platform committed to bringing resources together to overcome the challenges so many people are facing and dealing with right now. AnyFans was born from that brainchild. We are ready to talk to Josh. He's here today to talk shop. Welcome back to the Nice Guys on Business, Dr. Josh Luke.
Thanks for having me, Doug. It's been a while, but yeah, I'm totally stoked. It's people say, "Hey, how'd you get from healthcare hospital CEO and top 10 healthcare podcaster over here to this app for teenagers and college kids?" And the answer is actually an awesome one. I was teaching at USC and other universities, and the kids kept saying, "Hey, we need an app where we can meet people. There's so much of a focus on creators and this viral content that I'm not seeing many of my friends anymore." And so this app actually was the brainchild of my college students that I was teaching, and also my three high school kids at the time who are now in college. And as we launch here in September 2022, all of the data is showing that they were right on top of what the trends are right now. And so they're hungry for that.
Well, you jumped in really fast. I wanted to go back to that coffee date that we had back in El Segundo just a few years ago when we got a chance to meet each other. And, one of the things that I really discovered pretty quickly about you, which you've probably known all your entire life, is just the level of ambition that you have, and you to see and cover so much of this white space. At the time we were talking about the rising cost of healthcare, this was pre-pandemic. This is pre any of this shit that's going on right now. And for me, you always were that visionary. Is this something that you've just had as your entrepreneurial gene, or is it genetically ingrained in you so much? When did you discover this is the stuff, whether it's AnyFans or anything else that you're working on? When did you discover this is the stuff that's like so fun for you?
So, such a great question. So I was the CEO of 4 hospitals, including the largest mental health hospital in Orange County, California. And one of the most humbling moments in my life was walking onto the floor of my hospital, which I did every morning, and seeing one of my high school classmates as a patient. Mm-hmm. And the minute I recognized who it was, I ducked, because I certainly would not want to embarrass them if in fact that would be the case. But it was just the first of several friends and family members who were starting to be impacted by this mental health crisis. And that was, 10, 15 years ago. And then as Gen X, I'm a Gen Xer. And so we weren't allowed to admit that we were struggling with mental health or stress or anxiety. We were told, "Hey, rub some dirt in it and get back in there, kid," And what's been so awesome about this process, Doug, is the willingness of Gen Z and now Gen Alpha, who are in middle school. Okay, I know we're already talking about Gen Alpha. They're in middle school now. Is like, "Hey, I'm struggling with my mental health every single day. I'm stressed and have anxiety, and I'm supposed to be skinny." But you know what that's done for old fogies like me and you, Doug? It's made it okay for us to say, "Hey, we all do," and we weren't allowed to do that until about 10 years ago. So this app brings the resources of daily support to handle stress and anxiety and the mental health crisis, whether it's meditation or anti-bullying messages, or even the new I think it's 988, the new suicide prevention number. We bring all that right to their fingertips. So if you're struggling, we got lots of pick-me-ups, but we also have resources for you in the app. And so, yeah, my passion was really connected to this link to mental health I've always had. And as you know, my mom went through a battle with Alzheimer's disease, which of course is mental health. And so I've been in the middle of this battle for a good 20 years. And I'm really excited to be doing something on a mass global scale that can impact these two younger generations.
So it's interesting because, and I appreciate you sharing the backstory a little bit with your friend and your mom. And one of the things that I've discovered just since probably, I don't know, 2015, discovering that maybe I've had anxiety in my life, my entire life, and not really had a label to it, not really understand it. And not that I want to be defined by that word anxiety, but at least when you have either a diagnosis or you have something that you can, hang your hat on, now at least you can start to get the help. For me, cognitive behavioral therapy was a big help. And then beyond that, I started to discover all of these apps that were out there. There were apps like 10% Happier, and then there was another one called the Insight Timer, and then there was another called Bootify, and there's all of these apps that are out there that really did give me a lot of help. But the apps are really focused primarily on you going to the app and using the app for, you're looking at like a meditation, module that they might have, or you're looking at a specific other module that might be another level of help or, another modality. What's the difference between AnyFans and, let's say, those other apps that are out there? Because I know you have some unique spins that you've actually created using this app.
Such a perfect question, leading right into the thing I was just dying to tell you. Let me just back up and explain what AnyFans is so I can answer that question. AnyFans is a social media app that really targets the kind of 14 to 25-year-old. It's just like Instagram, but the feed is grouped into themed hangouts. Now, us old guys, okay, we use those rooms on LinkedIn and on Facebook, but guess what? There's never been a cool app for the kids where they use groups. There just isn't one. And so the research showed it wasn't because groups aren't cool. It's because us old folks are information seeking and the kids are entertainment seeking, right? So what we've done is we've created these hangouts where there's one for every university. University of Southern California has one. We're having a lot of traction at the University of Arizona, a lot of traction at San Diego State University, and our app hadn't even launched yet, and we're already getting traction. Because you can see what all your classmates are doing, and not just on campus. Hey, if you go to San Diego State, join this hangout and share your memories at the beach and on a road trip and whatever you did this summer. So all those people at SDSU have a new way to connect with somebody that may have similar interests, because we saw and we heard that there's no way to meet people online. Remember, Doug, you know this, but the last two generations, okay, millennials and Gen Z, increased screen time, reduced ability to communicate socially. So we are meeting them where they are at on social apps. And you really covered that, whether you intended to or not. We're meeting them where they're at on this app. And the point I wanted to make is when I've met with some venture capitalists, because we are starting our seed round now, if you're an angel investor or a VC, reach out. But the one question I got was, hey, you have this cool app that you show is already kind of trending with these kids, and now you're talking about mental health. Well, you can't put those in the same app. Like,
yeah, connect the two. I'm curious.
So that was your question, right? Well, guess what? I already answered it. Let's rewind back 4 minutes ago. This generation says, please help. Every day I'm struggling with it. I need stress management. I need anxiety management. I'm having suicidal thoughts. And you see that when you're in the classroom, like I was. You see it and you hear it when there's 15 teenagers in your backyard. They're the first to say, oh, I'm so glad that you shared that post about 3 tips to reduce your stress today. It is okay. We have created an environment where you no longer need to have a cool app that's separate from those hundreds of mental health apps. And I will tell you, I've also heard from a lot of the VC community, there's too many of those mental health apps, and therefore people aren't going. So if we can bring it to them and meet them where they're at in social apps, they're really encouraged about that component in particular of our app.
All right, so walk me through some of the application then. Share with me, okay, what does somebody expect when they go there? They have a room that they're going to go to or a group that they can meet with. So talk to me about it.
Yeah, so when you log on, it says, hey, what do you like to do? Because here are some of our hangouts. Not all that different than Twitter or others, but we show you like, hey, we have a fitness hangout. We have a foodies hangout. We have one for student athletes, which is very popular. We have one called Geeked AF, which is kind of a combo of our Star Wars and Marvel room and also our video gamers room, because what the kids, as we did our research, said is like, we're all geeks. Like we all love that stuff now. It's good to be a geek. And so, but we also have like a hot girl summer one because so many of the girls like to post selfies. We have a body positivity component to our fitness room where we say, hey, you don't have to weigh 12 pounds if you're proud of how you look and your workout and your eating habits and your mental health approach. Because we really focus not just on mental health, but whole body health. This is a place to share it, and we're going to reward you. So in addition to those hangouts, though, Doug, you do have one for each university. You have another one for each high school as we roll out across the country. So it's a bridge to meet new people right off the bat. There are rankings, and really the heart and soul of our app is the rankings by category, okay? At, let's say, we mentioned the University of Arizona, okay, there you can rank your favorite creator, and every night in that hangout, and every 90 days, we name a winner and a top 20, and we give them rewards and we give them resources and tools to keep building their confidence, right? And so a lot of people say, hey, are you a free speech app? And, you can thank, Elon and Trump for that being the motif. But the reality is, yes, that is a question that comes up. We are a free speech app, but we're not the place to go for controversy or political debate. We have influencer hosts who actually are assigned to each hangout to just kind of keep people upbeat, pick me ups for people, and really just encourage them. Hey, appreciate your point, but this is the place where we like to lift people up. So maybe save that debate for another app and things along those lines. So in terms of the mental health component, we're starting with 30 every month. The first 30 people to sign up, free 60 to 90-minute meditation session virtually with your headphones. Find a comfortable, quiet room. We're working on some new partnerships we're going to announce for anti-bullying, stress, anxiety. We're just going to go right down the path there and just give folks everything they need to know that this is a safe place to come, but also first and foremost, frankly, a cool place, because what good is it to make it a safe place if nobody's going to come to it? So really excited about those things we're rolling out. We've already had some donations from NAMI and some of the other National Mental Health Associations. So we're really excited.
Go back and talk about the developer side of things for a moment. Where did you even start? And you've called me an old guy twice now, so I'm taking close note of that. Me as an old guy, I don't necessarily know how to do any coding or anything myself, but I do have access to some pretty cool developers that have helped us with a bunch of stuff. So where do you talk to us about the developer side?
Yeah, same thing here. So I actually started with the pilot website, which was frankly a waste of money, because in this day and age, and if you're a college or high school teacher, every student tends to look the same nowadays. They look like this when you're talking to them. Even in class.
They're in the phone.
Yeah, even in the class when you say no phones or whatever. So finally, I just went to an app developer, and I found somebody I was comfortable with, who's now been listed as a co-founder because he's been with me long enough. And he put together a team of 4 developers. We hired one of the top app developing companies in the country, who also works offshore, so we could manage our accounts and really have some 24/7 support. They're out of Los Angeles. They're called Tech Ahead. They also work with ESPN. They work with Starbucks. So we had great confidence that we partnered with a good organization, and we're still with them. And the app is very functional. So yeah, I still don't understand 90% of what the developers are talking about. But I've just said to them, that we're a team. Let's be patient. Let's talk openly about things. And honestly, some of the biggest pushback we get is, well, AnyFans, that sounds a lot like OnlyFans. And so I've had to develop some message points to say, hey, we're not a paid subscriber-based ad that's dominated by adult content. We are a free app that really is committed to not just being a cool place to hang out and meet new friends and build your confidence, but also to address the mental health crisis. So we're starting to use a lot more of our branding, just using the AF, and you'll love this, because what the kids use AF for, because everything is cool AF. So yes, we're starting just to a lot more just reference it as the AF app until people understand what we're doing.
I want to take a different perspective for just a second and talk about the business side of things, because you did mention something in there that again just threw a flag up for me, and I want to make sure that that those in our community understand it too. Well, okay, so where do you make money from this as the guy that's developing? Is it through the relationships that you're going to build? Is it through a subscriber base that you're going to build? Where's the money come from?
This goes back to the first question you asked me, like, where, Josh, this came out of left field. Like, what are you doing here? It's admirable, but how did it come about? What's the story? The story is I've been teaching business classes for the last 10 years at, USC, Long Beach State, Cal State Fullerton, Hope International. I've been a college professor. It's been my side hustle and then actually my permanent hustle during the pandemic. The one thing I constantly preach to my students is a good business model has nothing to do with your passion. Usually it has to do, if you want to get rich, then you need something that scales in this environment. Globalization, something I heard about as a youngster, but it was nothing like it is now, where you can make millions of dollars while you're sleeping based on a product, a virtual product you developed months or years ago. And Doug, you did a great job of teaching me some of those things as a podcast coach a few years ago. You create some products, you create value, and you make money while you're sleeping. Well, I was constantly preaching scale, 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 scale. If you're going to open a restaurant, that's great. But if you're the busiest one in town, your costs go up because of food, your labor goes up, your insurance goes up. But when you open an app that scales globally over 5 years, your costs go up at a much more nominal rate. And so scalability is a real thing. 90% of the revenue generated from a popular social media app is through advertising or selling personal information. Let me give you an example of that. One of the ways we've grown is right now we're targeting high schools in Southern California and 3 Western region colleges. And our strategy is, let's take our limited marketing dollars as we launch here in early September and make sure our app works and is likable for that demographic before we spend a bunch of money to market it nationally to find out nobody likes it. Mm-hmm. So we're having great success with that strategy. But one of the ways we do it, I'm sure you're familiar, Doug, it's called geofencing. And even today, I went online and I looked at where the University of Arizona was on a map. I looked at the surrounding zip codes. I typed those 6 in and I said, hey, I want to hit 18 to 23-year-olds in these 8 zip codes for the next 7 days. And I can move that scale from $20 a day up to $50 or $100 a day. And it tells you how many you're going to reach. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, it's some of the most impactful marketing per impression you will ever do. And it's funny because we're using our competition to advertise who we are. I haven't said yet, and your listeners will get a kick out of this, since this is always a very humorous show, is one of our ad campaigns that we will use on TikTok, not on Instagram, is Instagramma, and Instagram is for parents, things like that. Because what we're finding out is the younger generations, for a lot of reasons, are kind of moving on.
But come on, I just learned it. I'm just becoming an influencer with my Mustang podcast on Instagram. Is it going away?
Point made. Thank you. Exclamation.
Whiz.
Hey, on that note, I'm looking at your Mustang and I totally forgot this connection we had. Because, my son has the 66. Well, I'm going to send you some pictures. I bought a Mustang, my wife and I did. It was a demo salvage that we've had rebuilt over the last year and a half, and it is almost identical to your color. And we have a white convertible. Is that one in the background, a white convertible?
It's Caspian blue.
Yeah. So I can't wait to send you a picture. I'm supposed to pick it up and actually get to drive it.
What year?
Next week. It's a 66 that I was looking for something to connect with my son. And I don't know if you're familiar. We can give him a little plug here. There's a place in Costa Mesa called Mustangs and Fast Forwards. And it took me about 4 months after I purchased this car for somebody to go, why don't you go to Mustangs and Fast Forwards in Costa Mesa and talk to Paul? You walk in and there's 20 cars like the ones behind you. And he knows everything about every single one, and every place in the world you can get every part. And he's had my car for 8 months, and I'm getting it back next week. And
that is very cool. Well, you'll have to listen now to our Ford Mustang The Early Years podcast and subscribe to our @Mustang Podcast Instagram page. We have a ton of followers on that page. I have been amazed at how quickly that. Sorry, I know we're getting way off track here, but that's part of the fun of the conversations with you, Josh. We never go down the straight line. It's amazing to me how quickly I'll put up a photo, and within a couple of hours I'll have 1,000 likes on the photo, and it's just amazing to me how just engaged that community can absolutely be.
So you made a good point, and our research is showing this, Doug, that what you just described is what Instagram and YouTube are turning into. As almost all of those followers are 28, 29, 30 and over, it's become, I follow these 8 people. I want to see everything they do. I don't really want to see anybody else. And so it's interesting you point that out, because I hadn't thought about that, but the kind of cultish factor that TikTok has like led YouTube and Instagram to chase after them for is more about kind of almost the podcast strategy. If you can just get yourself out there, you have this huge following of very engaged followers. That's
very
awesome.
Engaged and highly niched followers too.
Right.
You know, I can even tell just based upon the insights that Instagram provides that 98% of my followers are male, and and probably the same percentage are between that age of 15 to 40. And it is amazing to me how micro niche that they can get with their analytics. And I love it, because then it gives me an opportunity to really push some of the stuff that I think that age category would like. Even though I'm not in that age category, I don't have to be. As long as I know what they like, that's all that's important.
Yeah, totally. We're on the same page with that. So it's funny. We had an influencer that's one of our advisors, and she's this very pretty fashion influencer, 29 years old, and we ran her analytics on Instagram one day, and of like the 60,000 people, there literally wasn't 10 of them under the age of 30. It was like, whoa, what just happened? You know?
Yep.
So,
well, Instagram does a very good job with sharing that stuff with you. All right. So from a business perspective, so the partnerships that you have. So again, let's go back to the money for just a moment. So how do you scale? Walmart scales by having, they make 10 cents on a purchase, but they bring in billions of people over the course of the year. So what's the hope if you just blue sky this for a second with this app for you?
So the reason I reference the geofencing on Instagram is it's the same thing. People start saying, wow, Josh, you own the Orange County high school market, because we're starting there with our marketing. You have 40,000 14 to 18-year-olds in Orange County. We're going to pay to get into their profile, much like I described with geofencing. But also the bigger advertisers then come in and say, hey, this guy's got a huge amount of high schoolers wherever they are. That's who our target is. Let's start advertising. Not all that any different than TikTok or Instagram. Of course, there's a ton of data that shows that like they don't want ads. They want creators to kind of weave it in or whatever it might be.
Right.
We also are going to have user upgrades. And let me give you an example. I mentioned you're allowed to rank your favorite. Like we have a cars, trucks, and off-road hangout or something. Okay. Like that would be one of the hangouts that you'd go to, right? So you'd go in there and you'd post the 66 Mustang, you get a following like you do. And then every user has the ability to rank their favorite creator in that hangout. And so the Mustang people would all be voting for you, man. I love that Doug's got all these insights. And after 90 days, and it's based on these seasons of high school and college sports. So season 1 starts September 1. It's football, it's women's volleyball, it's cheer, it's water polo, right? But for cars and off-road, it's probably more of like an off-road season here in Southern California. So you probably have more of an off-road flavor during the spring. So those rankings are helping advertisers know also who is up and coming and who's popular, maybe niche, like you said. But the other thing in terms of revenue is you can now pay to upgrade and say, instead of just getting one vote, if I pay my $19 a month to AnyFans, I'm going to get 3 votes per hangout. I'm going to get a bunch of other like upgraded benefits. We pride ourselves on being a free app, but at the same time, we are going to have user upgrades. We also, Doug, as you do grow and get ranked number 1 or top 20, you will have the ability to create your own exclusive content and charge for it like the other platforms are doing, where we just take a little piece. Hey, you like Doug's content? Yeah, if you want 3 extra exclusive posts a week, click here. He charges $10 and we just take our little percentage out of that. So there's a number of different revenue streams, but if you hit the jackpot, the advertising comes so massively, you can't keep up. One of the things I learned that's inspiring for me, within 3 days of my daughter checking into the dorms last year in college, she's heard of apps called Yik Yak and Patio and of course Discord that I'd never heard of. And you go and study these, and they've been around for years, and they have 200 million followers, yet 90% of the world has never heard of them.
Never heard of them.
I'm safe in saying we don't have to be the next TikTok. We sure would like to be, But the other thing I tell people is, do you remember years ago when your middle school kid came and said, I'm using this app called Musical.ly where I can lip sync, da da da. Well, 4 years later, Musical.ly rebranded their name as TikTok. So it was an uncool app. It wasn't really popular. They saw the data, they saw what was working, and they ran with it. So we have a lot of balls in the air, obviously, trying to make this cool app that weaves in the mental health. But we're watching the data to see whether it's the high school kids or the college kids or both that really gravitate to what we're doing.
So from a VC perspective, what kind of money do you need? Who are you looking for? Somebody in our community might be the ideal fit for investors. I know that you guys have raised over $100,000, at least in the initial, at least from what I'm reading on your website. So tell me a little bit more about the VC side of things.
Yeah, we've had about 180,000 in our crowd fund. We've had more than 100,000 from angel investors, and where we're really getting the most traction, Doug, is that we have this mental health initiative. It's one of our core values in a cool app, because as we've talked about, there's 100 of these Calm and other apps out there for mental health management. But how do we get to the teenager without them asking, but we know they're hungry for it? And so the mental health component has been big. I actually have 2 LinkedIns. A lot of you that listen to the show probably already are following me at Dr. Josh Luke, but I have a new LinkedIn. Shh, don't tell anybody, because I'm pretty sure we're not supposed to. That's Josh Luke. It's the guy with the pink glasses on. That's almost all startup VCs, things like that. So the answer to your question is, in this market where it's very tight and social media, it's really difficult to raise in social media because so many people have a different idea. We're looking for $900,000 to get us through a year to a year and a half. Which is going to be 60% development, 35% marketing, the rest just for management. And if we can scale and grow, the rest takes care of itself. It's as simple as that. If by October and November of this year, we're sitting on 10 or 20,000 users, and we're seeing that there are 3 KPIs you use in social media, downloads, which we call UA, user acquisition. The second one is time in app, TIA, and the third one is daily active users, DAU. Honestly, we've spent so little time on our financial model because it's all about those 3 things. And once you start hitting on those, that's when you hire your CFO and say, go make some money. And we're passionate about what we're doing. We've already started to see angel investors everybody's impacted by mental health. So if you have $25,000, if you have $5,000, you can invest on wefunder.com until the end of September. Just type AnyFans and do it right there. But if you're an angel investor with $20,000 or $25,000 or more, you can still do it there. But I would just say, hey, reach out to me directly, and we'll put you in the seed round where there may be a little bit more opportunity for you if you're going to invest at $25,000 or more. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share that. It's WeFunder, WeFunder.com. Just type in AnyFans.
Hey, knowing you, Josh, this will be it's not only a great idea, it's one that will get legs and be highly successful. So congratulations for launch. I'm excited for that. So it starts in September, but you can download the app now.
You can download the app right now in the App Store. Just remember something. I've learned to say this as nicely as I can. Your kids will never go on an app that you were on first. Okay?
So don't download it. Download it.
Why don't you start the conversation with, I heard that there's this new app going viral called AnyFans, or the AF app in the App Store. Have you heard about it? Check it out. You can rank your friends, and there's a high school and college room just for you, and see how it goes from there. So hey guys, thanks for everything. Yeah, we have a website at anyfans.com as well. It's AF in the App Store. I'm really excited. Doug, thanks for just opening up and sharing your audience with me today.
Yeah, when I heard that you were doing this and you said, "Hey, is there a spot for me on the Nice Guys?" I'm like, "There's always a spot for you on the Nice Guys, Josh. We don't even need to talk business. We can just talk Mustangs." I love it. I forgot about that Mustang connection as well. So thanks for sharing, and best of success to you.
You too, bud. Thanks so much.
Hey, Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice. Again, special thanks to Josh Luke. All of his information, including access to his website and, of course, the app, will be right there in the show notes. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, I'm Steve O'Brien. They have listeners in other countries? I didn't think anyone was listening outside of their house. Except maybe their moms.